every golfer knows that they should control the controllables, right? Let go of what they cannot control. But nobody ever shows you how. So, lucky for you, today I'm going to give you a simple framework you can use whenever you're starting to think about the things that you can't control, the outcomes that you can't control, and when you start to ruminate on the future and start to operate from a place of fear. So you see, the trend that I noticed the most in competitive golfers is they're carrying the weight of things that haven't even happened yet into every single competitive round or tournament that they play. The bad round that might come, the cut that you might miss, the lead that you might blow, and the career conversation that you've been avoiding having with yourself. And all of that energy, all of that mental and emotional fuel is being burned and wasted on things that you can't even control and that hasn't even happened yet and that doesn't even fucking exist yet, instead of using it on things that you can control. Now, I know that you know this, and you see, the reason why this happens is not nerves, right? It's not fundamentally just a feeling of anxiety that you get. It's your brain starting to run what's the worst that could happen preparation loops before you go out to play, right? And it's not helpful. And when your body starts to feel those things and those emotions and those feelings, it doesn't even know what's real and what's a reality. So whatever you start to think about will become your reality, because it doesn't know. It doesn't know what reality is or what's the imagination. It just gives you what you're thinking about. And what it also does is it creates a fear response. So essentially you head out onto the golf course and into the tournament operating from a place of fear, which will drain your mental, emotional, and physical batteries quicker than anything else. So how can we stop this? Well, I'm going to introduce you to a really simple framework that you can use wherever you are, whether it's before a round, during a round, after a round, whenever these thoughts start to come in. So it's called the what if. Now, the what if method is not here to change necessarily the outcome or make it any nicer if this thing is to happen, make it any sweeter if this thing is to happen. It's to stop wasting that emotional and mental and physical energy on things that don't even exist, or things that haven't even happened yet, so that you can focus, like what we said at the start, on controlling the controllables, controlling the things that you can only do. The thing, you essentially start to switch to outcomes that haven't happened yet, and we'll go through a few examples today, as opposed to focusing on what am I doing at this shot? Where's my target? What club am I going to hit? Where's it going? Let's go. Playing with as an empty head as possible. So let's use some examples so we can run through the framework and you can use it for your own thinking patterns that are popping up for you. So let's say you've played round one and you're a little bit off the number, and the cut line is, let's say, 4 or 5 shots away from where you are, right? Just an example of a scenario. Well, the thought and the feeling that's going to be going through your head is, what if I don't make the cut, right? Okay. Is making the cut in your control? Can you control whether you make the cut or not? Now, don't think on this question too long. Most people sit there and go, well, hang on a minute. If I do this, if I do that, then yeah, it is in my control. But hang on a minute. It's not in my control because of what other people are doing. I can't control what other people are doing. Just simple yes or no. It's not a right or wrong answer. It doesn't matter. It's just the first step in this process. So what if I miss the cut tomorrow? What if I'm not good enough to make the cut tomorrow? Is that in your control? Yes or no? Once you've answered that, and by the way, if the best thing for you to do is follow along with a piece of paper, and when you go through this process, do it with a piece of paper, because in your head, it's dead. Out on paper, it's alive. So writing down, what if I miss the cut tomorrow? Is that in my control? No. Okay, well look, if I miss the cut tomorrow, what am I going to do about it? What's my plan? What's the thing that I will have to, okay, well, I'll have to reflect and understand, what was I thinking, feeling, how was I performing on that first round that ultimately cost me, to think like this the night before, but also, just why wasn't I good enough? What was it? Was it genuinely a car issue? So was it a physical thing? My swing, putting wasn't there, driving wasn't there, iron games wasn't there. You know, I missed too many greens, missed too many fairways, missed too many putts. Was I tired? Did I sleep well the night before? Was I ill? You go through all of the physical and the basic resources of, was it a car issue, right? And then you can look at it and go, well, no, was it a driver issue? Did I miss all them fairways because of the way I was thinking, stood over all my shots? Did I get in my head the night before and I was really nervous, stood on the first tee, and were those thoughts spiraling around in my head, which obviously this tool will help with. So what's my plan? Well, I'll debrief properly and I'll understand what cost me all of those shots and why I was in that position in the first place, from a driver perspective and from a car perspective, to figure out what needs work afterwards. Maybe I'll have a conversation with a family member or a loved one, just to get my head straight and just to pull me out of that headspace a little bit. Maybe I'll go for a walk. Maybe I'll go for a training session, right? And then I'll start to plan the rest of my week to make sure that I have a plan for me to move forward. You know, you can see how you just start to look at this from a logical perspective, not an emotional perspective. What's my plan? What am I going to do about it? If I miss the cut tomorrow, what am I going to do? Right? So that you can put in a plan. It just takes that edge off of, oh, actually, like, if I miss the cut, yeah, it won't be great, you know, and nobody goes out to not feel okay about missing a cut, because it's important. That's where you're going to earn your money from. I understand that. But you can't control whether you miss the cut or not. So what's your plan? What are you going to do about it? Okay, well, yeah, I'm going to have a little pity party in my head for 30 minutes. That's all I'm going to allow myself to, just feel it a little bit and sit with it for a little bit. Then I'm going to debrief properly. Then I'm going to talk to my partner, a loved one, a family member, just to clear my head and just to dump it, or even a mental performance coach, and just let them know what was going on. What can I have done better? And reflect on it properly. Okay, right. And then from there, I'm going to think about the next tournament. Where have I got to be? I'll go travel home, do a bit of practice, and then travel back. I've got to sort out the logistics of that. Cool. Can you handle that? Yes or no? Like, ultimately, the answer to that is normally, if the answer to that, can you handle it, is no, you're dead. Because you can handle anything, right? It's not a nice thing to miss a cut. It's not a nice thing to come away empty-handed. It's part of the process. You know that, right? So what if I miss the cut? Can I control that? Yes or no? What's my plan if I miss the cut? What am I going to do about it? And can I handle that plan? You know, am I well enough equipped to handle that plan? Can I move on and do that thing? Yes or no? And that's the process. That is the what if process, to help us stop ruminating and waste all this emotional energy on things that haven't happened yet, so that you can move that to one side and stop worrying about it so much, so that you can actually show up a little bit freer and clearer the next day to perform and control the things that you can control, which is just playing your game. All right, let's take another example. What if I drive it again, like last week? What if I missed the amount of fairways because of my driving again, like I did last week? Okay, can you control that? Yes or no? All right. If I drive it like I did last week, what am I going to do about it? Well, I know the logical thing to do is to just play with what I've got. I can't try and change anything mid-tournament. So I'm going to have to play with what I've got. And I'm going to have to trust and rely on the other parts of my game to help me. Without getting too deep into it, you could start to think your way out of it and be like, I am a good driver, focusing more on your target as opposed to the danger. And I can try to collect and create and engineer a more positive outcome by the way that I'm thinking, right? So can you control that? Yes or no? It's just a yes or no answer. There's no right or wrongs. What's my plan? What am I going to do about it, right? Logically, not emotionally, logically. And then from there, okay, can I handle that plan? Yes or no? Great. And you just move through all of these things that are popping up that you know that you can't really control, like the outcome, where you place, where you finish, how you actually play, and just work your way through this process. What about, let's take an example for if we're on the golf course, right? Let's say you're in the lead and it's the final day and you've got 3 or 4 shot lead, you've got 5 holes to play. And what if the thought in your head is, what if I can't hold this lead. Okay. Can you control that? Yes or no? All right. Well, what am I going to do about it? What's my plan? Okay. I'm going to remind myself that I shouldn't be thinking that far ahead, and I should be thinking about the next shot that I've got to take. Have a little shake off. Maybe you've got a reset protocol to get yourself out of that head, or maybe it's just follow this. What if I lose this lead again? What if I lose the lead? What if I don't win? Can I control that? No. Okay, well, what's my plan? Just carry on playing the golf that I'm playing. Don't think too far ahead. Put my boots on my ground. This is where you're at. You're on hole 15 and you're on your second shot. You are not on the 18th yet. Stop thinking about what you're going to say to media, that you're going to hug your family, what money you're going to win. They're not helpful things to you to be thinking about right now in this moment in time. Okay, well, what's my plan? Right, okay, I'm gonna do what I said, and I'm gonna stay in the moment. I'm gonna forget about all that stuff and move it out of my head. Maybe you've got a physical reset. Maybe it's to squeeze a towel, take your hat off, take a drink, eat some food, have a chat with your caddy if you've got one, and just remind yourself of I'm in the moment, and all I need to focus on is the next shot that I've got in front of me. And if I don't hold this lead, does that mean I'm a bad golfer? No, because that's probably the thing that you're worried about, right? If you lose that lead, what if people think I'm not good enough? Okay, well, can you control that? No, you can't control what anyone thinks. All right, well, what am I going to do about it if people think I'm not good enough? I'm going to remind myself that I was just in the lead. That means I have got the talent, the ability, and I am good enough to put myself in this position. Maybe just that moment in time, the other people were better than you. Or there's some things that you can take away from that and learn and implement and improve. Okay, well, can I handle that plan? Can I handle the fact that there might be some people talking about me, but I'm able to focus on my own game? Actually, do you know what? Yeah, I can. Cool, debunked. Move it to one side. It's not helpful anymore. So you can see that this process, what if blah, blah, blah. What if the thing that I can't control? Great. Can I control that? Is that within my control? Yes or no? What am I going to do about it? What's my plan? Right? What's my next step? My next action step? Okay. Can I handle that? Am I well enough equipped to handle that? Yes. Great. Forget about it. Remove it. It's not helpful. Let's do the thing that I said I needed to do because I can handle that. So, like I said, it's not to remove the possibility of the thing happening, because like I said, most of the time you can't control that, right? These are the uncontrollables. So it's more about what you can control in you doing and giving yourself a plan and reminding yourself a plan and just bringing yourself back to the moment. That's what this is going to help you do. So use it, write it down, and you can, like I said, you can pretty much use that wherever you are. Morning of, night before, during the round, post round. Whenever these thoughts that are starting to creep in that you know are costing you emotional energy, physical energy, and mental energy that's going to affect your performance and stop you being able to perform to your highest ability, you've got these tools that you can use. Now, obviously, we don't want to just rely on coping strategies and management tools. We want to be able to get to the root, right? Which is what the 6-week pressure proof install is all about. Now, just a real quick brief one on that. We identify the limiting beliefs that you have about yourself. If all of these thought patterns that are showing up on the golf course are regular and they happen a lot, we need to understand why they're showing up, what that limiting belief is about, what the story you have about yourself and about the world that's causing you to think that way. Remove it. So we have identify, we have erase, then we have rebuild. So we're going to start reprogramming a new wires and flows of subconscious wiring into your brain so that you start thinking in a different way, and then amplify it. So that becomes your default. And that's what we do across the 4 calls in the 6 weeks with the 6-week pressure proof install. Now, if you're interested in knowing how that works, just hit the link below and you'll find out how you can stop dropping 2 to 3 shots per round because of the way that you're thinking, start turning and convert your true talent and potential into top 10 finishes or better, and perform how you know you can under pressure. So Have a little look at that. Any questions, just drop me a message at Josh Madison __ on Instagram. And listen, we can book in a discovery call and just see if it's a right fit. But until then, I hope that helped, and I'll see you on the next one.